Hey, what's up, y'all? I did not forget about y'all, okay? I know that, so I told y'all, I promised that I would go live for 5 days a week for a month, and we still within that month. And I actually have been liking it, so maybe I keep it past a month. But just know that I didn't forget y'all. So here we go. This is today's news with Omi. I'm dropping out everything in politics, science, some celebrity news, and tech news. I don't do a whole lot of celebrity news because y'all can watch TMZ for that. All right, here we go. Y'all may have heard that Black journalists respond to disastrous Trump panel at annual convention, which was a train wreck, as many expected. So, if you didn't see, the National Association of Black Journalists held a convention where they allowed Trump to come and speak, and they got a lot of backlash when they decided to bring him. He came, he did the Trump thing, and now here we are. And so people have comments back are back. They're receiving backlash because of it. In addition to Trump's comments about Kamala Harris, VP Kamala Harris's blackness, he was defensive and combative during his interview with three black female moderators. Trump repeatedly insulted Rachel Scott, the CNN congressional correspondent for ABC, calling her nasty, calling ABC fake news, and saying her question was horrible. He went on to claim he has done so much for black people and complained about an invasion of immigrants from jails and mental institutions taking black jobs. He lied about Democrats' stance on abortion, falsely claiming that the party is in favor of being able to execute babies. When asked about the recent police killing of Sonia Massey, Trump said the incident didn't look good to me, yet still didn't back off his previous calls to protect police from legal accountability for abuse. Trump also said he's the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. Trump's interview began late because he demanded that the National Association of Black Journalists not do the live fact check during the conversation. Karen Attiah, who stepped down as co-chair of this year's NABJ convention in response to Trump's invitation, described the room as boiling with anger and disappointment. Fred Trump III calls Uncle Donald Trump atomic crazy, says he used a racial slur decades ago. Fred Trump III, the nephew of former President Donald Trump, said his uncle is atomic crazy. Said that he witnessed him using the N word decades ago. Trump spoke to ABC News to promote his book, All in the Family: The Trumps and How We Got This Way. The one chapter in the book is titled The Race Card. In that chapter, he details his uncle using a racial slur when he was about 10 years old, saying Trump used the N word twice while saying he thought somebody vandalized an expensive family car. Fred Trump said that Donald Trump was to be complex and cruel, and within every family, people know this. Families are complicated. Every family has their crazy uncle. My uncle Donald is atomic crazy. Also, what's not in this particular article was that when he called Trump for the continued support for his son, which is dealing with some differently able things, he said that he told him, "Your son doesn't recognize you. You should just let him die," which is absolutely crazy. UAW union endorses Vice President Kamala Harris for president over Trump. On Wednesday, the United Auto Workers Union endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris over Donald Trump. The UAW President Sean Fain has been outspoken against Trump, and Trump called for Fain to be fired during a speech earlier this month at the Republican National Convention. Fain said, "We can put a billionaire back in office who stands against everything our union stands for, or we can elect Kamala Harris, who will stand shoulder to shoulder with us in our war on corporate greed." The Detroit-based union has roughly 370,000 active members and 580,000 retired members, many of whom reside in the Midwest. Vice President Kamala Harris has also received the support of more than 100 Silicon Valley investors and tech executives, including Reid Hoffman, co-founder of LinkedIn, and Mark Cuban, the founder of Mark Cuban Companies, and former principal owner of the Dallas Mavericks. Biden administration pays, this is an interesting one. The Biden administration begins payout of billions of dollars to farmers who face discrimination. The payouts come nearly 2 years early after the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 created a fund to help farmers of any ethnicity who experience discrimination from the federal government when applying for loans or trying to repay their debts. The Biden administration initially created a fund to provide $4 billion of debt relief for black farmers, but shut the program down amid lawsuits from white farmers. About 60,000 farmers applied for the money under the new program. The Agricultural Department is making payments to 43,000 farmers across 50 states, with Mississippi and Alabama having the most recipients. The average payout is about $82,000. 12 states have new voter ID laws. Ohio's strict rules block 8,000 people from voting. As many as 8,000 Ohio residents have been unable to cast a valid vote as they show up to polling places but find their identification isn't enough to comply. Ohio created a new law in 2023, just a few months before a pair of hotly contested referendum votes related to abortion rights. The new voter ID law requires only accepts four types of ID. Previous voters could use utility bill or other pieces of mail to refer to verify their identities. Advocates say Ohio officials have not educated voters enough about the new law. The new law was passed as a part of the wave of voter restrictions pushed by the Republicans after the 2020 elections. At least 12 states have new voter ID requirements since 2020. Check your state and make sure. Texas reaches a $1.4 billion in privacy settlement after accusing Meta of using face recognition data without its users' permissions. Texas has reached a $1.4 billion settlement with Meta over a 2022 lawsuit, accusing Meta of gathering users' biometric data, such as face recognition or fingerprints, without their permission, which is also against Texas law. The $1.4 billion settlement marks the largest for a single state. Texas filed a separate complaint with Google saying that same year, but that lawsuit is still pending. Also, recently, Meta reached a $68.5 million settlement with the state of Illinois for violating its Biometric Information Privacy Act, but it denied the claims in the lawsuit. Meta took action in 2021 amid users' mounting concerns, saying it was shutting down its face recognition system, according to AP News. It also erased over 1 billion face prints and from its face recognition system. Amazon cannot be held responsible for dangerous products sold on its platform. Federal regulators have determined that Amazon will be held responsible for defective goods sold by third-party merchants on its online marketplace. Wow, that's interesting. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission unanimously agreed Amazon fits squarely within the definition of distributor of goods, and therefore it bears legal responsibility for their recall. Amazon claimed it's merely an intermediary between its consumers and sellers. Amazon is now required to notify purchasers and the public about product hazards, as well as offer shoppers refund or replacements for affected products. Amazon's marketplace, which hosts millions of third-party sellers, accounts for approximately 60% of the customers' e-commerce sales. The marketplace has proven to host counterfeit, unsafe, and even expired goods. Wow. U.S. topples South Sudan to make Olympic basketball quarters. Team USA's men's basketball improved 2-0 on Wednesday with a 103-86 win against upstart South Sudan. Former NBA player, most valuable player Joel Embiid went from starter to never get off the bench Wednesday when the Americans bench did play. They were devastated, racking up 66 points compared with just 14 from South Sudan's. This is really shout out to South Sudan though, because they're brand new to having an NBA team. I mean, not NBA team, to having a team go to the Olympics. So shout out to them. I want to send a lot of love their way, even though they lost. Okay. Katie Ledecky wins 8th gold medal with dominating performance. Yes, let me tell y'all. Katie Ledecky won the 8th Olympic gold medal of her brilliant career and 12th medal of her overall runway victory in a 1,500-meter freestyle on Wednesday. Y'all, I watched the freestyle last night and I said, I don't know how in the world she is doing that much swimming. But she killed it. Shout out to her. That was amazing. She's 27 years old. She confirmed after the race that she has no plans on retiring and wants to compete in LA. Come on, Katie, let's go. This is not on my sheet, but there was some backlash to Vice President Kamala Harris having Meg Thee Stallion at her rally the other day. I saw in the comments that people were not really feeling it. They felt like, oh, this is the wrong direction. Oh, we didn't want you to be ratchet. People had lots of feelings about that. So that was very interesting to notice. But it was about women's rights. I heard that. I don't know I don't have a verification of this, but I heard that because of it being about them being in agreement on women's rights is why they embody rights and body positivity is why she had Meg Thee Stallion there. What else I want to say? All right. I think I already covered the rest of this. Yes, I've covered the rest of this. All right, so let's go to some tech news. Microsoft now lists OpenAI as a competitor in AI and search. Microsoft has a long and tangled history with OpenAI, having invested a reported $13 billion in the ChatGPT maker as part of a long-term partnership. As part of the deal, Microsoft runs OpenAI's model across its enterprise and consumer products and is OpenAI's exclusive cloud provider. However, the tech giant called the startup a competitor for the first time in the SEC filing on Tuesday. In Microsoft's annual 10K, OpenAI joined a long list of competitors in AI alongside Anthropic, Amazon, and Meta. OpenAI was also listed alongside Google as a competitor to Microsoft in search, thanks to OpenAI's new Search GPT feature announced last week. I still haven't tried the Search GPT feature, but I'm gonna try that. It's possible Microsoft is trying to change the narrative on its relationship with OpenAI in light of the antitrust concerns. The FTC is currently looking into the relationship alongside similar cloud provider investments into AI startups. That's going to be interesting to watch unfold. Amazon reduced the price of the fancy Galaxy Watch 6 Classic to an all-time low. The Galaxy Watch 6 Classic may not be Samsung's top model anymore now that the company has released the Galaxy Watch Ultra. So I don't know if y'all are Android fans, but there you go. Amazon is selling the 43 millimeter Bluetooth version of the X top line of the version of the smartwatch for $121 off its price. So if you're looking for a smartwatch, you may want to go check that out. Google will let you search your Chrome browser history by asking questions like a human. You're neck deep in a research project, but the finish line is in sight. You hit the close button on your browser, it vanishes and takes away the dozens of tabs you had open. You heave and a sigh of relief, and then you remember that you needed to verify just one more detail from one of the web pages you had open. The problem is you have no idea which one of the web pages it was or how to get back there. You start digging through your browser history feverishly, clicking on pages that look familiar, but the page that you knew that seemed to look like it vanished. If this sounds familiar, a new feature coming to Google Chrome on desktop. In the feature in a few weeks, it might be exactly what you need. With it, you'll be able to ask questions of your browser history in natural language using Gemini, Google's family of large language models that powers its AI systems. You can type in questions like, what was that ice cream shop I looked at last week? Into your browser bar. After accessing your history, Chrome will show relevant pages from what you browsed so far. The high level is really wanted. Lord, I can't even talk. The high level is really wanting to introduce a more conversational interface to Chrome's history so that people don't have to remember URLs, said Parisa Tabriz, the vice president of Chrome, in a conversation with reporters ahead of the announcement. The feature will only be available to Chrome's desktop users in the US for now and will be opt-in by default. It also won't work with websites you use in incognito mode, thank God. And the company says it is aware of the implications of having Google's AI parse through your browsing pages and give you the answer. That is the point. Tabriz said that the company does not directly use your browser search or tabs to train its language models. Anything related to browser history is super personal, sensitive data, she said. We want to really be thoughtful and make sure that we're thinking about privacy from the start and by design. I hear that on the privacy piece, but how cool would it to be able to just type in, hey, what was that thing I was looking at? Hey, where did I go last week? In addition to making wading through your search history more conversational, Google is also adding 2 new AI-powered features to Chrome. It's finally bringing Google Lens, which is already on both Android and iPhones, to Chrome Chrome on the desktop in the US. This means you'll be able to easily select, search, and ask questions about anything you see on the web, all without leaving your current tab, according to Google's blog on the post feature. Ooh, that'll be interesting. All right, what's happening in science? Okay, I don't know if they're gonna let me read this. Oh, they're gonna let me read. Oh no, they're gonna let me read it. Let me see. Come on, New York Times. I want to know this one. Let me log into it. I'll be trying to give you all the news without doing a bunch of logging in. You know what I'm saying? Just let me read it. Come on, New York Times. All right, here we go. How did roses get their thorns? Okay, I wanted to read this, and I'm gonna end with this. I think I'm not gonna do celebrity news today. Oh, it won't let me read it. I can't read it. Boo. You know what? I have to subscribe to the New York Times, and I don't. Actually, we do somewhere Black Revengers, but I don't know the login right now. So I have to tell y'all another time about how roses got their thorns. All right, so moving on. I don't really do a lot of celebrity news, but I'll just tell y'all a couple things. One thing is Whoopi Goldberg hangs her head in disgust on The View over Donald Trump's NABJ interview, saying, "I refuse." Whoopi Goldberg, who famously won't say Donald Trump's name from her post on The View, didn't have the words to adequately communicate her disgust over the former president's volatile performance during a Wednesday afternoon during the interview that I just talked to y'all about. So Whoopi Goldberg was not happy about the National Association of Black Journalism, National Association of Black Journalists interview either. Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. announced at Comic-Con last week that he'll be returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe to play Doctor Doom. People have mixed feelings about the cast, not to mention the actor's huge paycheck. Variety reported that Downey, who just won Best Supporting Actor Oscar for his role in Oppenheimer, is set to make more than $100 million to return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He starred in the first film of the new superhero dynasty, 2008's Iron Man, and has appeared as Tony Stark in 11 movies total. Downey is expected to play an entirely separate character, now the main villain rather than the lead Avenger, in upcoming films Avenger, Doomsday, and Avengers: Secret Wars. It's not just Downey who's coming back. The Russo brothers, who directed the studio's two most successful Avengers movies, Avengers: Infinity Wars and Avengers: Endgame, will also be back to work on the two future installments. Marvel is notorious for jamming cameos from beloved superheroes and cast members into their movies, brushing off any recasting and repeat appearances as quirks of the complicated multiverse. The studio's latest release, Deadpool and Wolverine, is loaded with cameos and just broke records. A relief after Marvel's 2023 tinge at the box office was a fail. Yeah, there we go. So I'm gonna because that there's also I also saw somewhere that the thought of like what is the dude's name? Lord have mercy. I'm blanking on this. I can't even tell. What was the guy who got dropped from what was the guy who got dropped from the Marvel Cinematic Universe? The one that's dating Megan Good. What's his name? Megan Good boyfriend. Why can I think of his name? Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors, they're not bringing him back. He was supposed to enter the Marvel universe, and some people are saying like Robert Downey Jr. had his sort of backlash and his like stint in getting locked up and all of that. So why wouldn't they let Jonathan Majors come back? Well, one take is what Jonathan Majors did is way different from having an addiction. Hey, I'll leave it to the court of public opinion to decide. I know I'll probably be watching the movies. Thank y'all so much for joining me. I promise to go live every day reporting the news. And so here we are. I'm Omi Bell, and this was today's news. Today is August the 1st. If you missed news before, do not miss news in the future. Go to @The Omi Show on YouTube, @The Omi Show, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I want to get to 1,000 subscribers, so y'all help me out and go subscribe today. Even if you don't care about the news, go subscribe @The Omi Show on YouTube. I really, really appreciate y'all. You can catch me here 5 days a week reporting news. You can also catch me live on Tuesdays on SiriusXM channel 126 from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. You can call me there and talk to me live on that show. And then on Sundays, I also have a SiriusXM show. It's not live, but still listen to it at noon on SiriusXM channel 126. Thank y'all so much. I'm thoroughly enjoying reporting news. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.